Boston wrestling sports and the MWF explodes into a new year of unknown with professional wrestling content galore, and we need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after we review the previous night's Monday Night Raw, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with the unpredictable WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights after WWE, NXT, and AEW at 10 p.m., you never know who's going to show up on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey through the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday nights after the lights go down at the Thunderdome on SmackDown, it's John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. If you want early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and to help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there, live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, welcome to Wrestling Insiders Current Events. I am Dan Mirade here at downtown Melrose, Massachusetts, MWF Studios, the zip code of Champion 02176. I have to say, it is not a bad Saturday afternoon out there. It must be high 30s, low 40s, and for us, that's pretty good compared to some of the Arctic weather we had. No one is here at the studio, even though while some on their radios have AM, some have FM, I am being serenaded by the FFM music. I'm not even going to say what that means. I'm going to test those to see how often you watch that know what FFM stands for. But tonight, we discuss the February 5th, 2021 edition of WWE SmackDown from the award-winning Thunderdome at Tropicana Field in Tampa, Florida, the first SmackDown following the Royal Rumble. Before we talk SmackDown, don't forget at the top of the hour at 10 p.m. Eastern, it's Wrestling Insiders Week in Review. This week we have 5 full-length Wrestling Insider in-studio shoot interviews with TJP, WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas, Nasty Boys Jerry Saggs, Marty Jannetty, and John Cena Sr. This week, instead of my podcast-style intro, I'm actually going to be joined at the hip in studio in between each episode by Mr. Cena himself to give the episodes a little bit more flair. Have some fun with us late night tonight. Due to the timing, it wound up being earlier tonight. We had a special edition of Wrestling Insiders at your house where Tony Atlas and I discussed the passing of the late Butch Reed, who passed away yesterday at the age of 66 years old. Of course, Tony turns the episode into a GPS gone wild with some very interesting stories about the McMahons, Dangerous Danny Davis, and more. If you missed it, check it out in the archives in just a little while. Our schedule for the week, just so you have it and taking notes yourself. Tuesday night, Tony Atlas is back shooting on The Undertaker's comments on The Joe Rogan Show and what other superstars thought of The Undertaker's thoughts. Wednesday night, following NXT and AEW Dynamite, it's Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. This week, we're joined by Native American Tatanka. Thursday night at 10 p.m., put the women and children to bed for Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll look at the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. And then once again, when the lights at the Thunderdome go down on SmackDown Friday night, John Cena Sr.'s dome is just lighting up at 10 p.m. on Fabulous Fridays. Whether you join us each night for those shows at 10 p.m. for the premiere, or you miss an episode or two, we'll always be back next Saturday at 10 with the Wrestling Insiders Week in Review that features every episode. Along with that, to get all the cheap plugs in, my good friend Dave Carter, who will be joining me momentarily is joined at the hip. You can check out our Wrestling TV podcast-style reviews each week. Tuesday night at 9 p.m., we discuss what often turn into difficult 3-hour installments of Monday Night Raw. Thursdays at 9 p.m., we break down the previous night's AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT. And then, like we are right now, Saturday nights at 9 p.m., we discuss the Blue Brand, WWE SmackDown. Then again, every Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at 2 p.m., we offer our Wrestling Insider flashbacks, small segments and clips from interesting guests and stories over the years, hopefully to entice you to sample our acclaimed Patreon streaming service. And again, every single morning, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, unless I get really backed up at 10 a.m., it's WWE history videos, small videos where we look back at live events, results from yesteryear on an event from that date around the globe, primarily focused on the 80s and 90s to fit the theme of the majority of our regular in-studio talk shows. We do have live episodes coming up for you to enjoy. We want you to take note of on Valentine's night. If we can pry Mr. Carter away from Tinder, we're going to have our WWE NXT TakeOver live watch-along. Friday, February the 19th, during SmackDown, we'll be joined by the man that only knows how to rock, Marty Jannetty. And then Sunday, February the 21st, we'll be back for our Elimination Chamber pay-per-view watch-along, and we might just have a surprise guest or two. You never know. Don't watch the pay-per-views alone. Stream them on WWE Network, and then watch along with your friends here in Boston Wrestling. We have a lot of fun. While coronavirus has killed the nightlife, our eBay store is open 24/7, baby. Great wrestling memorabilia from every era, and each purchase gets you an on-air shout-out from Tony Atlas on Wrestling Insiders at your house. Check out the eBay store link in the description box below. Finally, while everyone that watches our program is a friend, everyone that smashes that thumbs up button to let YouTube know that you like our shows, I should say. Those that share the links, that share them on their social media, that share them in a text, that share them in an email, that share them in a Facebook forum or on Reddit, across social media. However you do it, you're almost like blood brothers and wow, I'm losing it today. You're almost like blood brothers and sisters, but those of you that join the Patreon, well, you are officially part of the family. For less than a cup of coffee down at Starbucks, you get that early ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insiders in-studio shoot interview talk shows each week. You get the access to the Wrestling Insiders. Wow, you know what? I am mentally and physically exhausted, folks. I can't even get my cheap plugs right. I have tried to produce so much this week where we lost what day was it that we lost due to the snow? Monday. One more time. You get the studio shoot interview DVDs that have been seen by millions online, millions on the Howard Stern Show. You get some exclusive content. Tony and I taped a special video for you guys last night. And again, more than anything, you help keep wrestling legends working at a time they need it most. As coronavirus... Wow, this is going to be an interesting one to get through. As coronavirus has killed most independent wrestling events, most autograph signings, most fan fests, their income ability to earn has been destroyed. So that's why if our little studio can help the cause, let's keep it going, folks. Patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. If you're a diehard fan, which I'm sure you are if you listen to a show like this, I bet you'll love it. And now a man that knows more about the sauce than Prego, longtime Boston Wrestling MWF associate, Mr. David Carter. Dave, a pleasure for you to join me here on this Saturday where I can barely speak, or whatever it is I'm thinking. I can't seem to speak.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad you guys have me for this review of SmackDown from 2/5/21. It was a pretty good show. How do you want to kick it off? You want me to go from it?
Yeah, it might be for the best. And I do want to stress, I have not had an alcoholic beverage in several weeks.
Oh, okay.
So that has nothing to do with that horrible introduction.
It's all right. All right, here we go. We kicked it off with Roman Reigns walking down to the ring with Jay Uso and Paul Heyman. Basically gets on the mic and starts, one of his Yeah, I mean, I love his promo right now. I think he's doing a great job with his promos. Basically says he beats Kevin Owens. The future is Edge, which I don't know how he already saying that when he doesn't know yet because he hasn't picked the guy yet, but that's what they have him saying. He's the main eventer. Basically has two issues with what's going on right now. He doesn't understand why Edge wasted his time on Raw or NXT and why he was out there first, basically making him wait. Roman tells Paul to get Edge to come out here. Paul gets on the, mic saying Edge, start his music, whatever, so on and so on. Edge doesn't come out, says Edge is making him look bad, making him look like a fool. He's playing games with Roman, basically. The last guy that played games with Roman was KO, and he's not there anymore. Demands Edge to give him a decision tonight. That was pretty much the promo. That's the rundown. It was all right. It's pretty much the same niche, but just with a different guy. I mean, I love what Roman's doing, but I think some of it's, the same thing, repetitive. What about you?
I don't necessarily disagree that maybe it does feel a little repetitive, but I like it an awful lot, so I really don't mind it. I love the delivery. Exactly. I love the approach. I love the attitude. I love the edge, no pun intended, that he has right now. Yeah. I like the fact that his persona believes that he is the main event of WrestleMania, no matter what other champions there may be in the company, that he felt disrespected, that Edge didn't automatically say that he was going to challenge Roman at WrestleMania 37 at Raymond James Stadium down in beautiful Tampa, Florida, that Edge should have gone to SmackDown first. I thought it was a really good promo. Having Jay Uso go up reminded me how disappointing it was after the great few months he's had that he wasn't able to compete in the Royal Rumble due to some kind of a health issue. But, better safe than sorry with whatever that issue may have been. But I liked the opening segment. I'm glad they didn't rush it too early and have Edge come out, which sometimes they do on Raw, where they take the featured segment and they put it on early in the show, and then the ratings just plummet from hour to hour to hour.
Right on. I totally agree with you. He's doing great work right now, and I love Paul Heyman being with them. From there, we had a match, Dominic Mysterio with Rey Mysterio versus King Corbin. But as they were walking down the ramp, Corbin attacked them down the ring. I think what Corbin's been doing right now has been great. I don't really like Dominic getting so much offense in this match. I don't know. That's me. I want to hear what you think about it. Basically, they kept on showing Rey Mysterio hurt back, holding his knee and everything. Then he starts hobbling over to Corbin. Basically, he hit underneath the ring, grabbed Corbin as he was getting the ring, so he couldn't get out. Dominic up to 619 on him and pinned him for the 3. I don't like Dominic going over Corbin at all because I think Corbin needs to stay hot and stay the heel he is. I mean, I understand why, because you got to maybe let the good guy win, but I don't know. To me, I just feel like Dominic shouldn't get a win over him. But what do you think?
I think it hurts Corbin's credibility with the fans.
Yes.
I think you remember he is a guy that I was awfully high on as someone that could be a main event player in WWE due to the way he's been presented. Maybe not main event status, but certainly I think he could be towards the upper card, someone that is in TV main events from time to time as his career unfolds in WWE. But Dominic Mysterio, like I've noted before, it's just he should be at the PC training. He should be getting his body into shape, not in some bodysuit as a young guy in his young 20s. I imagine if he had a physique, he wouldn't have a bodysuit on. And I think you don't want to overexpose him. You don't want to overpush him on weekly TV because look at how fast the fans turn on those types of characters.
Right.
Does anyone care about Otis anymore? And I'll use the analogies of Eugene and Zach Gowen and others that have been in the same boat where the fans may like something initially a little bit, and then it's just shoved down their throat. Sometimes not just week after week, but in multiple segments per show. It's not as bad as it was when they had the sister out with them and the Maggie Simpson of the Mysterio family that didn't speak, Angie Mysterio. But it's still a little too much for me. I understand that they're trying to go young, go fresh, but Dominic Mysterio isn't polished enough for the spot that they're in right now. I'd like to see him get there. He has the potential to get there, but like I said, he should be at the PC, fine-tuning everything and getting his body into to look television ready, so to speak. One man's opinion.
No,
and I'll say this. I've seen enough of the match. I mean, they've done, is it 3 weeks in a row now they've done this?
Yep, absolutely, yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. I totally agree with everything you said. I mean, I don't understand why Mysterio, like you said, isn't down there learning first, getting in a better, position, like physique wise, and just learning the business more. I mean, I don't know. I totally agree with you 100%. From there, we actually got a great match, Cesaro versus Daniel Bryan. I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic match. I mean, you got two great workers. The big thing in here for me was Cesaro going over with the sharpshooter. I never would have thought that would be the finish, and I thought he was going to get out of it, DB, but he tapped out and he won it. I thought it was great. At the end, you've seen Cesaro bleeding from the head. I don't know where he got that from, but he was bleeding, gushing blood on the side of his head. And they bumped fists after the match, so they're, showing a little respect. I actually really enjoyed the match. What about you?
Well, it kind of feels like a Cesaro babyface turn is in the works. He might be a nice opponent for Roman Reigns. I was a little surprised by this result where Daniel Bryan was in line, and I believe still is in line at one of the pay-per-views for a title match leading into WrestleMania. A lot of people thought that Bryan was going to get the Rumble victory and go on to WrestleMania, but from the matches that were given to me by some WWE folk with what they're working on, Bryan wasn't even on that list. So I did not expect a Royal Rumble win for Daniel Bryan. I did expect the win. I did expect the win for him over Cesaro, though. So that's kind of an upset there. And with the little fist bump, maybe Cesaro is headed for a babyface turn. I think he'd be a fair opponent for Roman. I don't know if I could see them on pay-per-views together, but maybe some solid TV matches for Roman.
Well, I'm hoping so too, because I don't know if they've missed the boat on him, if you could say, but they haven't given him a real opportunity, I feel like, yet, since he's been there. And this might be finally it, is what you're saying. Finally, maybe turning him babyface and giving him the opponent and seeing what he can do with it. What do you think they've given him a fair share, or?
Yes, I do. Because I feel, you know what? Everything he does well, he does great. And the things he's not good at, he's never going to be good at. He's never going to be a great promo. He's never going to have a superstar look like they want. He's 40 years old. I mean,
I couldn't believe that when I seen his age. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. It is what it is. I mean, are they going to go to bat for a bald guy at 40 years old that speaks broken English to push them to the top of the card? Could they have done that 7 or 8 years ago? I thought they had a chance. I know, at one point he was with Zeb Coulter. At one point he was with Paul Heyman. But, he makes a nice little salary for himself. He's in the middle of the card. I liked him and Sheamus together as a tag team. I thought that brought out some of the best work Sheamus has done in WWE. Again, that's one man's opinion. But let's see what Cesaro really hasn't been in the position of babyface too much. At one point, there was the Cesaro section at live events that WWE didn't want to get over, which they were trying to collect those signs. But here's a chance maybe for Cesaro to show a different side of himself as a babyface. And who knows, wouldn't it surprise the world if it really worked and it really took off?
I hope so. I agree with you. I think that would be great. I just know they always hit him with the tag team, Sheamus and then Shinsuke. So I'm like you said, maybe you're right. They did give him a fair shot and he just didn't actually, make it happen at first. So I'm hoping this run maybe will.
Well, it's just, you know what? Not everybody is meant to be a main eventer in WWE. It's just the nature of the beast. Is there anything about that guy you'd look at that would say, geez, you know what? There's a guy we're going to put on the side of trucks. There's a guy we're going to put in the main event of WrestleMania and on posters and things like that. No, he's a very bland-looking human being. He's a very good pro wrestler, but as far as the pizzazz and the superstardom that the bigger-than-life type people they look for in that company, it is what it is. Maybe in a different company, could Cesaro have had a better shot at being a top guy? Sure, but he chose to be in WWE. He chose to renew with WWE long-term, so we'll see where things go in the immediate future for Cesaro, but I'm sniffing a babyface turn.
Hell yeah. All right. From there, we got Bianca Belair backstage interview. Basically, they showed the... I can already... They showed showed her parents or their reaction when she won the Royal Rumble, like from video-wise. Basically, they asked her, who's she going to face at WrestleMania? And she said she will make it soon. and I don't know if you have anything to say. I know you just made a note.
Not much.
Okay. And then we got Seth Rollins package. He's going to be returning next Friday on SmackDown, which I thought he'd reach. I'm excited for that. I hope they do something with that.
Not if it's Friday Night Messiah or whatever it was.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I couldn't believe when he came back at the Royal Rumble. Speaking of that, I thought he was going to come back to his Burn It Down entrance. When he had that music, I'm like, come on.
You should have heard John Cena Sr. and I groan during that.
Yeah. You probably were hoping he would come back to his other way, right?
Oh, absolutely. They've castrated him since the final bell rang at WrestleMania 35 at Meadowlands or MetLife Stadium, whatever it's called in New Jersey. They have done nothing but kill that man. First, they made him almost subservient to Becky Lynch as Becky Lynch's boyfriend. Then he had that horrible feud with Baron Corbin. The feud with The Fiend did nothing really for either one of them. Then they developed the Monday Night Messiah character, which is just so bland, it's so boring, it's so forced, it's so rehearsed, it's so not him. And I know he took great offense to one of our Twitter posts. He actually blocked us, which what are you going to do? It is what it is.
Right.
It was an opinion about a character, not him as a human being, but there's a lot you could do with Seth Rollins, as we've seen over the past. When did Shield debut now? But it's been just about 9 years of Seth Rollins on WWE TV. He should be top of the card, cocky, arrogant. If they want to use him on the babyface side, almost like a rock star. I mean, he's in good shape. He has personality. He's got a little bit of you know what? I'm not going to knock the guy. I've done that enough with the Friday Night Messiah persona. But he shouldn't be what they've done since December of 2019. It has not helped the man one iota. It's only hurt his career.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. So I'm glad I wasn't the only one that thought the same about that. From there, obviously, what's next. I'm waiting for the groan already. Bayley versus Ruby Riot. Billy Kay was on commentary for the match. It was a match. It was decent. I mean, it wasn't anything that was like, wow, I'd see this and again and again. Ruby's decent though. I think she's all right in the ring. I enjoyed this version of Bayley better than the wacky inflatable two men going around. I do like this version of it. If I have to pick one of the versions, I like this one better. I'm waiting for you to already interrupt. Bayley won the match. She pinned Ruby Riot. What do you have to say about it?
I just thought it was a complete and utter waste of time. I mean,
exactly.
Just give the women their own show each week, or give them an hour of Raw in the beginning or the end. Billy Kay, she's the Titus O'Neil of the women. To me, she has I don't know her. She might be a lovely human being, but she offers nothing to a professional wrestling or sports entertainment broadcast. She's terrible. It's just awful. It's bad under any circumstances. But again, the worst of the females, and that bar can be set pretty low with some of them that they throw out there on Raw and SmackDown for whatever the reason may be. Just a complete waste of time. It did nothing to advance any match that I want to see in the future. I didn't want to see the match that they had on there as it was. I don't understand the purpose.
All right. From there, we seen Edge walking backstage. She gave we see Sonya Deville backstage.
Another waste.
Yeah. So he finally arrived in the building. So that he's there. I'm guessing you don't have anything to say about that.
I wish that Sonya Deville didn't come back, is my thought on that.
Okay, there you go. From there, we got another Bianca Belair. She heads down to the ring. Sorry, I laugh when you do that stuff. From there, she talks about winning the Rumble. It changed her life. Then all of a sudden, Reginald come out. I don't know how I feel about this whole guy. I don't know how I feel about it yet. He comes out of the ring, tells her that she can defeat Asuka, but she can't defeat Sasha. I don't even understand why he's out there. Then Carmella comes out, says Reginald is a wise man, talking about beating Sasha twice. Carmella says she can't beat her. Sasha comes out. Sasha looked great. I got to say that. I got to put that in. Sasha looks awesome.
She was looking good at the Rumble. I actually commented on that when Johnny and I were watching live.
I love that leather, whatever that was she was wearing. Carmella looks good too, but Sasha, wow. She looked really good. Sasha's been doing a good job on her promos too. I know you probably don't think. I don't know. I'm not going to answer for you, but I'm just guessing. You probably don't like it.
No.
But I think she does a good job on the promo. I really do. And Bianca ends up whipping the crap out of Reginald, and that's it. I don't know. How did you feel about the whole segment? A waste? What? Because, hold on, let me say this. Bianca is going to be good. She's a great athlete.
Oh,
she
yeah.
has it.
Hell of an athlete. No, you're right. Hell of an athlete.
What?
No, you're good. She's a good athlete. You're right.
You don't think she has the potential to be one of the best women's wrestlers that they have?
As presented now, no. I don't like the EST nonsense. But John Cena Sr. explained to me that ponytail that she had is actually called a Q. I never knew that.
Oh, me either. I didn't know that.
Well, now you've learned this. So thanks to the wisdom of John Cena Sr. But,
well, go ahead. You tell me what you thought about the whole.
Yeah, it's pretty much what I thought of. I just, back-to-back women's segments is just a killer to me. I don't think... Well, I mean, I don't know. I didn't see what the TV ratings were, but, I mean, does anyone really care about this dynamic? Does anyone want to see more of Sasha and Carmella have their wrestling matches where it looks like they throw punches that wouldn't crack an egg if they had the egg in the ring, and Sasha doing her cosplay, Eddie Guerrero and Macho Man, and now you have Reginald. The poor guy, he's got to get in there and wrestle women and can't even have an offensive move because it's a PG show. I mean, there's nothing about it that's right other than the fact that, from a storyline point of view, Bianca would have at least a 33% shot of picking Sasha, and where they are on the same brands, it would kind of make sense. But as far as the other nonsense goes, it's just not for me.
Yeah, I figured that. It's definitely not. I like Sasha and I like Bianca, so I'm just glad they're involved. But yes, I do agree. The Carmella stuff and them just keep on going. Yeah, it's too much. It's overdone. I wish they would do fresher matches and segments. It's the same thing every week with them, and it's and I know, like you said, there's not enough women, so that's what you're gonna get. And I was the big proponent on the women's tag team titles, and look at me now. I wish they actually didn't do them because they never. I
knew you'd learn eventually, sir. I knew you'd learn eventually.
I know, and if you go back to past episodes on our podcast stuff and everything, I was a big proponent for him. So I admit I was definitely wrong on that.
Well, you wanted to give it a chance. I can respect that, but I've seen so much of this, and I understand so much of this. I knew it was going to flop because it was something of zero substance that was meant to appease some PC social media crowd. I just don't know who is left to enjoy it in a company that has no women's tag teams.
It's true, and I didn't think of it like that.
It'd be like having a singles title if it was a tag team wrestling show. What would the purpose of it be?
Right, I get you, and I wish I thought of it. I didn't think of it like that. I thought maybe they would have made something, but I was wrong. All right, so from there we had Roman backstage with Paul and Jay. Paul tells Roman Edge is finally here. Then we go to commercial. Okay, so then from there we got your man Sami Zayn backstage interview. Complaining about how he's gotten ripped off the whole time he hasn't been IC, and it's never been a fair chance for him. But tonight he gets his chance to get the title back, and he's got the document crew following him. Yeah. I don't know.
If it was me, I would have liked to have had him pop out of a garbage can like Oscar the Grouch on Sesame Street.
Oh man,
that's who he reminds me of. They need to bring in Duke Drosy to get rid of him.
You know what? And you know who else he reminds me of? A guy from the circus. Like, one of the guys from the circus that, because his pants are tucked into his boots and stuff. He looks like, what is that guy called? The jester guy. He looks like that from like the circus or something.
No, but it's nothing that's very impressive on a wrestling show. That's for sure.
No, I don't know why they haven't done anything with him other than make him look worse and worse than he has. But anyways, from there, we go to Otis and Gable versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Love they actually made Robert Roode and Ziggler a real tag team. Like, they wear the same outfits. They actually have entrance music now. So this I'm not mad at. I know they stuck them together at first. And we were like, but now they're trying to make them like they're an actual tag team. So I do clap my hands to WWE for doing that. I thought that was really cool. Profits watching along, which was very annoying. Couldn't even take the match. I could not take that. That was terrible.
Are you ready? Oh,
Yeah, same as me on that. I love Chad Gable. I still can't believe they're sticking him doing this crap. I wish they would let him go. Yep, you know. And I love Robert Roode. Everybody does. So I think everybody
Oh.
likes him to a point, but I just don't think. Like, I'm gonna go. Let me finish. I think he's in the wrong gimmick, and it's the wrong time for him. I think he's missed the boat on what he's been doing. Also, Roode and Ziggler won the match. I just wish we didn't have to watch with the Profits watching it because that was terrible. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the match itself wasn't that bad, but listening to those two fools, I mean, you talk about a one-trick pony. They do virtually the same promo every time they speak. Every time they wrestle, they have the exact same match. They do the exact same moves in the exact same order. I understand the charisma that the Street Profits have, but I mean, it's like they know how to do one wrestling match and cut one promo. It's all along the same lines. Other than beer money, I've never really been a big Robert Roode guy. I think you know that. I know you were actually, along with the lines of the women's tag team title, you thought there was a chance that Robert was in for a big push when they did that gimmick with him that lasted about a week and a half when he came out with just the mustache.
Well, because his entrance is so cool, like you figured that would be special, but it's
well,
really
Elias
not.
has got a great entrance too, and then the bell rings.
Right.
Not that I'm comparing the talent of
Robert.
Robert Roode to Elias. That would be insulting. Robert Roode is very solid in the ring. What's that?
Okay, so you do think Robert Roode's at least a good worker? You think? He's
Absolutely. I just think he's almost like not too far off from Cesaro. To me, he's just, other than the actual work, he's very bland and boring in what he does. I think his promos are boring.
Do you ever think it's
he's
because
got nice
they don't let him
robes?
talk either? Because he can talk.
Yeah.
I mean, at least in Impact he could talk, or TNA, whichever one you prefer to call it. But in WWE, he didn't really get the opportunity to so much now. I know in the beginning he did, and that's why, but let's see him do something now. But it's always Ziggler talking. Like, I don't know. I mean, you're probably right. I'm probably just thinking too much into it.
No, it's good that they have them, trying to solidify themselves as a tag team. If they're going to be a tag team, that doesn't hurt. I just think, again, I think he's hit his peak. WWE isn't TNA. In TNA, there was much more room for him to grow than there is in WWE. He's not a very big guy. He's north of 40, I believe. He may be glorious, but that's about it. I think he hit his peak in NXT as far as where he was going to go as far as stature on the card. He had a nice run in NXT.
Absolutely, you're right. Anything to say about Otis or Gable? Or I know how I feel about Otis, but what about Gable?
Chad Gable is another one of the most underutilized guys in the company. I'd like to see them do something serious with him. They have had magic with Chad Gable no matter who they have teamed him with, whether it be Jason Jordan, Shelton Benjamin, Robert Roode. I don't know if he's going to get the same tag team magic if his long-term immediate future is going to be teaming with Otis.
I know.
I don't know.
Really good.
It's a real test. They're really testing Chad Gable's skill here.
Well, my thing is, I know they're really good friends outside of because they were at the same wrestling camp and stuff, not school, meaning when they were both like at the wrestling camp when he was doing the Olympics and stuff. I know that about him. So I wonder if he was hoping maybe this could, maybe make some, but I don't like it. I totally wish they would just give him a singles run, at least even for the IC title. You know what I mean? Not main eventer, obviously, but something in between the IC title or something. You know what I mean? Because he's a great talent.
I'd put him on 205 Live. Let him run wild there, Maybe he could add a little position. Not that he's a great promo, but, he's kind of an established name where he's been around so long now. The fans look at him as a credible wrestler that loses a lot. He'd probably fit in well on that brand.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. You're right. From there, we probably got your favorite part of the night. They talked about the 33 years ago, Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan on the main event. We got a Hulk Hogan promo with it, which was nothing about the 33 years. All he said was when I slammed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He didn't talk really about that, which blew me away because I thought that was the whole point about it. The only thing he talked about was about the Giant, about he was the stinky, wart-infested Giant, and then he went in to talk about Edge and who he should pick. I don't know.
I'm going to guess that was written for him.
I'm guessing you probably like that they actually brought it up. but you probably wish they talked about it a little more,
I
right?
think it's, and to be honest, and you may be a little surprised by this, I'm embarrassed that they brought it up. I'm embarrassed
Really?
that they brought up the fact that there was a WWF/WWE show on NBC 33 years ago that 33 million people watched on a show that
Right.
they were presenting last night that will struggle to get 2 million people to watch it.
So you're
I think it's an embarrassment.
Yeah. Okay. You know what?
Other
to
than
me,
that,
I
I'm
was
glad
actually-
they mentioned the history part of it, but I was really surprised that they mentioned some of the numbers because, again, there's a big difference between 33 million and 2 million.
Right. Oh, yeah. All right. So that's shocking to me. See, to me, I could have done with it or without it. It didn't bother me, but I figured you would have loved it. But wow. Okay.
And I
All
tell
right.
you this, 33 years ago at the moment we're taping this, it was a matinee show at the Boston Garden. They flew right in from Indianapolis after the main event, and it was Hulk Hogan and Bam Bam Bigelow against Dibiase and Andre at the Garden, where
Oh,
so much
imagine
was
being there watching
unknown
that match.
after the evil twin referees and DiBiase buying the title from Andre and who really was the champion. DiBiase went out as the champion for a few days, as he did in Boston. And then as soon as the matinee was over at the Garden, they flew them down to Philadelphia. After selling out Boston, they sold out the old Philadelphia Spectrum with the same main event, Hogan and Bam Bam against Andre and DiBiase, with DiBiase as the champion.
Think about that, though, what you just said, that match. Oh, how good would it be to be back 33, all that time? Oh, man. Oh, I love it.
And that one day, they drew about 35,000 fans just to those two house shows, and that's not including the B and the C loops, the other
That's
teams that were out there. Just the Hogan A team drew about 36,000 people between those two shows.
Crazy. I love that old school stuff, man. From there, we had the IC title match. It was Apollo versus Big E versus Sami Zayn. All three are good workers. I'm not going to say anything bad about that. I love Big E. I love Big E, but I wish he was more serious. You know what I mean? I wish they could, but I don't know if he'll ever be able to be more serious because of what he was in before that, the New Day. And they keep on bringing it back to him. You know what I mean? I thought he was going to be on his own, but then they show up. I don't know. I want to hear your opinion on him in a second. I thought it was a good match. Nothing bad about it. Big E ended up retaining the title. I don't know. I just wish Big E could be more serious and actually I could take more serious than what he does. How about you?
I've said it before and I'll say it again. You have a guy that is a great athlete. He's at worst very credible in the ring in Big E. He has a physique. He has some size to him. But when you take someone that you've presented as a complete and utter imbecile on television for 6 years and then try and present him as a serious threat, it's going to take a lot of re-education or it's not going to work. One of the two. Is Big E, does he have that much talent to establish himself in that way where he could be potentially a main eventer on SmackDown? I think it's going to take a lot of work. I mean, I think someone like Apollo Crews, even though they've been used more as an enhancement talent during their tenure in WWE, most of his work hasn't been on main Raw or SmackDown. He's usually relegated to a show like Main Event. So he hasn't been as tarnished as much as Big E has, in my opinion. I think there's almost more upside as far as what you could do with Apollo Crews, where there's more clay to mold, so to speak, than someone like Big E, whose career has kind of been cemented, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. Between me and you two, is I think they should have had Apollo go with the Hurt Business, and it shouldn't be Cedric. But that's my opinion. I think Apollo
he would have fit that really good.
What?
He would have fit in really good with that faction, especially as I've noted in the Raw show. For a faction that's just establishing themselves as something new, you already have Cedric every week teasing that he's going to turn heel on a heel faction. But we'll save that for the Raw review. But I'd like to see more done with Apollo on SmackDown. I think on a show that's only 2 hours long, it's a little bit more of a challenge where they have to kind of to fight for the TV time a little bit more. But, you know, as I've noted from when we saw him at house shows, I think there's a lot more upside than what we've seen on TV to Apollo Crews. As far as Big E goes, it's a challenge. As far as Sami Zayn goes, just please, just eliminate the problem. He looks
Okay.
pathetic.
I hear you. I hear you. All right. From there, we had I guess you call it the main event, the last segment, whatever you want to call it. We had Edge coming down to the ring, basically talking about how he never lost the title and he wants to get it back. Tells us winning the Rumble was huge for him. Roman comes down to the ring. Edge says, you have to bring your back up. Roman tells Edge without the blessing of Paul, he could leave. He could get out of, he could leave. They could both go away, Roman and Jey Uso. Basically, Roman wants Edge to say his name. He keeps on saying, say my name. And then out of nowhere, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, dude comes out KO, kicks him, stuns him. Edge just stands there and just looks at Roman in the ring and basically, gets off, and that's how we go off there. I didn't even think KO was going to be part of this anymore. I don't know how you felt about the segment.
I was hoping the same thing, but
right.
No, the segment itself, it was pretty good. How many times can Edge cut the same promo in the same week about,
right.
Going to the main event of
Exactly.
WrestleMania, but he did it on
Right
Raw,
on.
he did it on NXT and now SmackDown, but, different variables thrown in here with different people. I like that Roman came out. I like that he got in his face. He demanded to be acknowledged as the WrestleMania main event. He demanded Edge to say his name. I almost had flashbacks to Velveteen Dream when he'd say my name, say my name. Oh, please go back to Instagram. And then you had Kevin Owens run out and interrupt a good segment with his indie-looking Stone Cold Stunner on Roman, and then Edge was unable to give us an answer as the mystery continues. I hope they hold off as long as possible. If it was old Dan Mirade, I would actually have that done. If he was still alive, you want to know how I would do this, kiddo? I would have Edge booked for Piper's Pit at Elimination Chamber where he'd make the announcement.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I would definitely. That'd be cool.
I would not do it on Miz TV.
No. Yeah,
garbage.
Make them wait.
Make them wait. Play it out. And you know what? I was thinking where they have so much time in between. The top matches kind of got shuffled once they got word that they didn't think Cena was going to be able to wrestle. A couple of the pieces had to move around, almost like last year, where at one point it was going to be The Fiend and Roman and Cena and Goldberg. But with Cena, it doesn't look like he's going to even be able to be in the city of Tampa this year for the big event. Some of the pieces got moved around, and it looks like it really actually could be Roman and Edge now, where that wasn't going to be the original matchup. I think with so many pay-per-views leading in, I wouldn't be surprised if at Fastlane, and this comes from no one from WWE, this is just my trying to figure out their logic. What about if they did Roman and Jey Uso against Edge and Christian?
Awesome.
I think that'd be an interesting match.
I think that's, and I've seen things about that since Christian got which surprised. Did that shock you that he came back?
Well, if the primary issue that was keeping him out of the ring were concussions, yes, because I don't know the cure to a concussion. I know a lot of the wrestlers, John Cena Sr. and I were talking about it, that have had certain neck issues, have gone down to Mexico under the radar and had procedures done that I don't think are legally approved here in the United States as of now to try and get their bodies working the way they used to. I don't know of a magic cure to a concussion. Look at Daniel Bryan, he wound up being cleared. Sometimes there's also money talks, you know what I mean? Christian could be looking at the massive amounts of money being thrown around nowadays with there's a little more competition in the world of wrestling, with AEW being the success that it is, with TNT extending their primetime television contract a number of years. He might think, you know what, I'm not old enough yet where I'm done. I've still got a little bit left in the gas tank. If I can get kind of a semi-part-time deal like Edge and take in a very healthy income, why not? Is Christian a guy that's going to go out and main event pay-per-views? No. But I mean, could he be in TV main events? Sure. Could he add a lot to pay-per-views to enhance them? Sure. So I think there's a lot of value in having Christian on the roster. I was surprised to see him back. I had heard rumors that he was training, but concussions are tough. I don't know. I hope He is making the right decision for his health long term and short term.
Now, the main question is probably people want to know, do we see an Edge and Christian run with the tag titles?
No.
Okay.
Well,
That's
you
all
never know. I mean, could they do that as something fun for a few weeks or something like that? Sure. But I mean, are they going to have the two of them long term as tag team champions or working as a tag team? No, because Edge is being paid a fortune. He's being paid a fortune right now by WWE, and they certainly would not be doing that if their plan was to make him a tag team guy. But could you see it for fun, maybe for a little bit? Why not? I could see that happen, but
you love the 5-second poses.
Please, I was never a fan of that.
I know.
Again, it took two guys that were excellent, and it made it harder for them to get over because they were looked at as comedy goofs.
Right.
That nonsense they did with Kurt Angle when they'd have little kazoos and they'd do their comedy skits. I know you laugh. I know you're a big fan of most of the stuff from that era. But as someone that looks at it as trying to make money, look at how hard it took for guys like Edge and Christian and whatnot to get over at the top level. Look at someone like Angle, who was castrated by that nonsense, instead of being a guy that is a Hall of Famer, a multi-time world champion. I think if he was presented the way he was right around the time they did that Unforgiven match in 2001 when he worked Austin right after 9/11, if they presented that Angle the rest of his career, I think you'd be looking at one of the icons of the industry.
Right on. No, I get what you're saying. I totally do. Comedy, like you said, funny isn't money. I get you. I know.
No, it's one thing for serious people to do funny things. It's another thing just to present someone as funny and what should be presented as simulated violence.
Right. I get you. Totally agree. Well, that was SmackDown. I don't know. You want to grade it now? Do you want me to give it first?
Yeah, why not? We'll let you go first.
All right. Well, I learned the grading system cannot have halves, so
no.
I'm gonna give it the big 6. It's 6 out of 10 for me. I think a 6 is fair. Like I said, there was a few things I really liked. There was a lot of too much of the woman stuff and not enough of other things. It was Bianca, and then Bailey, and then it was too much of that. We had a trend with Edge at least come to the hall, things like that. But I think a 6 is being fair. That's my grade for SmackDown last night.
We have tied yet again. I have a 6 out of 10. I thought there was too much women. I hate Sami Zayn. The Street Profits ruined the tag team match. I've seen more than enough of Dominic and Baron Corbin, but on the positive side, Roman stuff is excellent. And I thought Cesaro and Bryan was very good. The tag team match, if you had a remote control to mute it, wasn't bad either. So I think 6 out of 10 is fair. It was a little bit better than a halfway in the middle showed to me.
Hell yeah. I totally agree. Well, that was it.
Well, we can't agree too much or the show won't be too interesting. We got to go back to fighting.
Exactly.
Isn't that what they do on sports talk radio? They have to fight to make the show interesting?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah. But
do you have any other further news and notes from the Blue Brand this week?
Well, I did want to bring this up.
All right.
You don't have to talk, but I seen it last night as I was scrolling through my feed. What is up with Tyler Rex?
Oh, we do. Tony and I do a very interesting episode about that.
I could not believe that. That's all I had to ask you. I was going to ask you, regardless, if I don't even understand. I don't understand it. But
neither did Tony.
I mean, because I honestly followed him on Instagram, and back in August, that wasn't like that. They were training. He was getting jacked. I thought maybe he was going to try to come back. Then all of a sudden, I see this interview, whenever it was, yesterday, it showed up on my feed, and I'm like, what happened? I was literally blown away, Dan. I literally seen him in August. He was training. He looked good. He was getting ready. I thought he was maybe not making a return to WWE, but just getting back into wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, this. And I'm like, what happened? I don't know. And the worst thing about it is he's still with his wife as a transgender now.
We have someone here at the studio that is in the same boat. They're a woman now, and they're still with the wife.
Wow. I can't believe it.
I don't know how to say what I think without offending somebody. And as Goldberg said, people are easily offended now. But you know what? If that's what she wants to do with her life. I mean, who the hell am I to say
Exactly, and
anything?
that's why
But
I wanted to know what you thought.
I don't understand the whole concept of it, I guess. I mean, I look at it like this. People are given the definition of man and woman by biology. You know what I mean? If I know, for example, because one of the people that work here in the studio, they are married to a nurse. And when these individuals go to the hospital, they are treated as the gender they were born as, because that's just what it is. I mean, when they say, I feel like, I'm sure in Tyler's case, he feels like he was a woman. So he actually went out and had the operation done. But I mean, for those that say, I am because I think it, that's like saying, okay, well, I feel like the sky is green. Well, it's blue. I mean, it's just what it is. You know, but you know, I again, I don't want to go too deep into that conversation because it'll just lead to negativity that I don't want to bring on the show. But I hope she becomes a very happy person with what I imagine must have been a massive amount of work to go through that transition.
Absolutely, but that was it. And then other than that, Steve Cutler getting released, but we already knew about that. I think you probably already talked about that.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, I know. I was just going by a couple things.
That was a big one.
I thought it was funny that the reason why I thought that was kind of newsworthy is because they say the rumor is, from your buddy Dave Meltzer said he got fired because they promised Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens that they would keep him safe, and because they had that New Year's Eve party, that's why they got fired, him and Deonna Purrazzo. That's what I read. That's what your boy Dave Meltzer said. So I just thought it was
he was fired because he threw a New Year's Eve party?
Yeah, he went to New Year's Eve and got a New Year's Eve party, and he got COVID.
Oh, he went to one?
Yeah, like they had a New Year's Eve party, and he got COVID from it, and that they promised, this is your boy Dave Meltzer reporting this, promised Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns that they would be safe, and they wouldn't allow it.
WWE promised Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns.
That's why they fired him.
And he got caught going out to a New Year's Eve party.
Right, and
that's fuck him then. You know what? You know, if and I say this, I don't know this to be fact. If the talent is told to avoid those types of situations while they are being paid by WWE, you know what? It's a very serious situation. It's not like these are people that work in a grocery store or an office or something like that. This is physical contact that these guys are getting in the ring and doing. It's sweat. You know, in some cases, accidentally, there can even be blood. I am a proponent of trying to keep them away from as many people as possible, just for their own safety. If this guy that added no value to the company anyway went out to no, honestly, to a New Year, I wouldn't even recognize him if he crossed the street to come to the studio. If he went to a COVID party and risked getting the actual stars of the company sick because he wanted to go have fun, fuck him.
Yeah, I get you.
And this is someone that I don't believe WWE should be ruling over these people's lives when it comes to things they do on the internet in their free time. But when it comes to jeopardizing other people's health, honestly, if they have been told that that's the rule in place, fuck them.
Right on.
Now he can go to all the New Year's Eve parties he wants. He's got Valentine's Day, Easter, St. Patrick's Day. Steve Cutler can go to all the parties he wants to and risk getting himself struck with COVID or the flu or anything else and not risk anybody else in WWE's health. So there you go.
Hell yeah, I totally agree. I'm not going to disagree with you, but that's all I got. Those two things I seen, and I just wanted to throw them at you.
All right. Well, wrestling fans, it has been a pleasure. It has been... we're still just kicking off the night. We kicked off with Tony Atlas shooting on the passing of Butch Reed at 8 o'clock. We have our great SmackDown review right now. And don't forget, at the top of the hour, 10 p.m. Eastern, it is Wrestling Insider's Week in Review. Instead of a podcast-style intro, John Cena Sr. is in the studio with me, where we bring you all 5 studio shoot interview Wrestling Insider episodes this week with TJP, the Hall of Famer Tony Atlas, Nasty Boys Jerry Saggs, Marty Jannetty, and Cena Sr. himself. It's about 4 hours of fun. Spend the late night Saturday with us. Again, we'd appreciate a thumbs up if you enjoyed the show tonight. We'd love for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's free, no cost at all. And click the little notification button. And that way, every time a new video is coming your way, you'll be alert. You'll be ready to join us for the premiere and join the chat, maybe super chat, maybe subscribe to that world-class Patreon service that we offer, where we're keeping the wrestling legends working over at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. But for my friend, Mr. Carter, I'm Dan Mirade. Hopefully we will be having some in-studio current event news type shows sometime soon. Dave and I are still trying to work that out. But nonetheless, we will be back with another podcast-style review of Monday Night Raw, Tuesday night at 9 p.m. before Tony Atlas's Wrestling Insiders. Until we speak again, folks, you and yours be well. We'll see you at 10 o'clock. The World Wrestling Federation was live at Buffalo Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo, New York, Monday, February the 6th, 1985. In the opening contest, Salvatore Bellomo drew Billy Red Lions. Jim the Anvil Neidhart with the win over Chief Jay Strongbow. Hillbilly Jim defeated Moondog Spot. Don Morocco victorious over Rick McGraw. Blackjack Mulligan beat Moondog Rex. Superfly Jimmy Snuka with the win over Cowboy Bob Orton. And in the main event, Andre the Giant and the Junkyard Dog battled Big John Studd and Ken Patera to a double disqualification. If you were in Buffalo live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the links in the description box to help keep wrestling legends working in our eBay store and on our acclaimed Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston Wrestling Sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.